Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Tammi Morrison, coming live with Ebony and Ivory on Spiritual Growth with my partner, Megan Marie. She's coming up in the building. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Super, super excited for her to come and join. We're going to talk all things spiritual growth. We love to talk about our own journey because that inspires other people because, people, you look at people and you think, you have your own opinions and your own perspective on their journey and on them. And so we like to break down, stereotypes. We like to break down things that block people and stop them from moving forward on their spiritual journey. So we're here to talk about all of those things. And we absolutely, you know what? I should probably fucking do this shit on here too, huh?
What?
I said I probably should record it. Well, fuck it. But yeah, so we're coming on here and we're talking about that stuff. So Megan's gonna join me shortly. I'm having some tea. What y'all having?
I need some fucking alcohol.
See, it's got my name on it.
Alright, I'm on here.
Okay, I sent you an invite. You get it?
I got a watch.
It said sent.
No, I got a watch. Let's see. There we go. Let's see. I'm sending you a request.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right, so she's coming on. We're gonna have a good time. Do this thing. I'm looking forward to syndication. Yes. All right, so we are live.
The echo is gone.
Actually, no.
What it is. Okay. Is it better?
Happy people. We haven't been live in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. And it was a challenge today, but we are here and we are so grateful. We would love it if you would join us and if you would let us know that you are watching. Hey, Mariah, thank you for joining us. But yeah, so I'm Tammi Morrison.
I need to share this. And I am Megan Marie.
And we are Ebony and Ivory on spiritual growth. And so we are here to talk all things spiritual growth. You know what? We haven't really been live to talk about this new year and how things are shifting and how things are changing. We know that it is an 8-year in numerology, so it is a year for prosperity and abundance, all the things. It is a year of endings and beginnings. It's also the infinity symbol, so things are going around, coming around. And, I don't know about anybody else, but I am super excited about it. But I'm excited about every new year. But this new year, I'm really excited.
That's what I'm excited about this year. It's karma. This is a year, guys, literally and I'm sorry, but I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to warn you all. If y'all have not done inner work, if you have not done some of the maybe things you should have said you're sorry for in the past, if you haven't tried to make corrections, it's the infinity loop. You know that saying, what comes around goes around?
Mm-hmm. So Justin Timberlake did a song about that.
Bad year.
Justin Timberlake sang a song about that.
Yeah.
What goes around comes around.
And that's this year. And this is a year of really, it's about breaking a lot of cycles. It's also very exciting because what a lot of people don't know, it's like, if you had a really bad year last year, so many planets. I think at one time there was 9 planets that were in retro. All planets last week went direct. So not only did we start a new year, but now for the first time in like 9 months, all the planets are all facing forward. And that's even more of like, you guys don't believe in like the universal, well, telling you it's the eightfinity. Well, everything, what goes around comes around. So all the planets, they were getting ready to make their reshape, you know. So right now it's a time. So if you've done a lot of inner work, you know, really, really, I think it's, you know, surrender right now is
Yes.
kind of what is coming of like just breathe.
Yes.
Just really breathe because of the fact, and I have to take my own advice
Yes.
because I will tell you all that, like, you know, I have literally, there's so much work that I have done on myself, and there's so much that I have done, so much inner work, and there's so much that it's like, this should have happened, this needs to happen, I want this to happen, I desire this to happen, and you know, those feelings of, okay, this is happening, and then it's like, why ain't it happening? Like, you know, you've had such strong, it is. But right now, it is kind of like it's that boomerang. And, you know, and I love to describe your emotions and your feelings in that boomerang. But again, it goes with the eights because when you shoot a boomerang, well, I mean, throw a boomerang, I was doing an arrow. Stupid. You know, but when you throw it, it comes
It
back.
comes back.
It,
Surprise.
surprise, you know, those things are happening. And so it can be a really phenomenal year. It can be an amazing year. And so it is kind of sit down, just kind of breathe. You know, if you're struggling right now is, you know, don't give up faith. And, you know, it's kind of funny because I was telling Tammy before here today, I'm like, you know, kind of like, fuck this shit, fuck that, fuck that, fuck, da, 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 da. And the reality of it is like, that's not me. You know, I'd be walking in and it's like, I need to take the same advice I'm giving you all right now as to what, but we do need to vent sometimes. You know, we need
Yep.
to let it out. We got to get it out. We got to, you know, move it and move those suppressions of those of, because what some people don't realize is like, even that frustration and anger, like you don't want to vent to other people. You don't want to feel a burden. You don't want to feel like you're a crybaby or you don't feel like, you know, of this, but those are all stored emotions that still need to be expressed out of your body.
Yes. Yes. And you know what? I think what people don't realize is that when you have that kind of stuff going on, it affects, you know, your cells, your nervous system, so many different systems within your body. Because, you know, um, I was dealing with some heart issues and some things that were happening. And so I went finally, took me months to get in to see a cardiologist. And so she ordered an echocardiogram. And so I was like, okay. So we went and did that. And of course, you know, like most of the other things that have been happening, everything was normal, which I fucking hate that word, but hey, okay, whatever. And so, you know, you think I would be like super excited about that, but the thing is it's like, okay, yeah, I'm excited, but what is it? Because it is, you know, it's something going on. It's not my mind. It's not my, you know, how they do, you know, always, you know, in your head. No, no, no. It's not in my head, it's
Mm-mm.
my heart. So I was speaking to my son and he said, Mommy, he said, do you think it could be your heart chakra? And I thought, whoa, whoa. Out of the mouth of babes is what I thought. But I actually already was on that path. So when he said it, to me, it was like a confirmation, you know. And the thing is you should, you know, you have to listen to the kids because they know. And a lot of times, you know, people will discount what their children say to them. But sometimes the children be on it. They be on
Yeah.
it so hard and you don't even realize, you know, or you listen to them and they say something and you're like, wow, that was so simple. You know what I mean? So yeah, so you have to not discount where the information is going to come from because it doesn't really matter where it comes from as long as you get it. You know, because if
Right.
you're asking for it and you prayed about it and you have talked to your angels and your ancestors, your guides and all your team and all this stuff, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, your child says something and you look at them and then you think about it and you're like, wow, you know, that was the answer to whatever the question was that I had,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
not discounting, you know, and same thing like, you know, sometimes you walk in a grocery store and somebody you'll be, you know, perplexed with some situation or whatever, and then somebody will say something to you that will answer the question, or that will give you more detail, or that will show you, the way to go. And
Yep.
if you're not open and you're not paying attention and you are not, what's that word, present, then you won't receive what you need. So
Right.
you got to be, present and actually, desiring to have that information and not looking at where it comes from, because so many people are like, okay, well, they'll listen to you if you're, an influencer, you got 500, half a million people or a million followers and all this kind of stuff. And if you don't, then they don't want to hear what you got to say. But you may be saying something even better than whoever the person is that has the million people, so, we really have to really pay attention to um our surroundings, number one. Number two, we have to be present, and
Right.
that can be challenging.
But you brought up a great point on, the information of, where it is that you're getting information.
Right.
Because of the fact that, like people who think like, ooh, I'm just this person. Like for me, I'm just this person. Ooh, I just got on Facebook. I'm into oh God, the word just went out of my mind of what I'm thinking. The fad of the coaches online, type thing
Yes,
like that.
yes.
Yeah, I'm a counselor. Like I am actually a certified counselor. So it's like, but because I don't necessarily sit here and I don't throw out all the psychological words, that are used to make myself feel like I'm more educated, or because I'm better than you, and I break stuff down for layman's term. Don't you dare underestimate any advice I give you, because of the fact that I also have an education, but I have 40 years experience about what the hell I preach about. And and the reality of it, my experience taught me more than my education.
Of course. Of
So
course.
we need to sit there and listen to that, of and some of these of like where you are getting the information. Don't always be sitting here looking, especially like when it comes to mental health, you know looking at a person and their degrees, because a person can read a freaking
Yep.
book, but if they don't have personal experience about it, then they really can't help you, and they can't relate to you, and they certainly can't offer you advice because they have never been through the situation. They
Exactly.
can't say, like, oh, well, I would do this.
I
No.
mean, it's like a person that doesn't have kids trying to tell you, what to do for your kids. You're like,
Yeah,
but you don't have any kids, so you really don't have that experience.
yeah,
Because the thing is like, okay, well, I would do this and this and this. Yeah, but have you even dealt with kids? I mean, you don't have any kids, so I can't honestly, you know, yeah. It's that part, because people do that all the time. Oh, well, I would do this. I wouldn't take that from that man. I wouldn't take that from that woman. Blah 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 blah. But the thing is you ain't even had that type of experience. You wouldn't even know, because what you
right.
would do changes depending on who you are and what your perspective is and what you've been through. So personally for me, I can't really deal with people that haven't had any experiences. It's, and it also brings up the mind, like my husband and I talk about this because we are older. I'm Gen X, my husband is a boomer. And we think about this, how, we've applied for jobs and stuff like that. And we get interviewed by a 20-year-old. Or this is what we say. We say a 12-year-old. They ain't had no experience in life. They don't know nothing. And they ask you the dumbest questions like, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And they're not prepared when I say, not here. And
Oh my God.
it's
I'd be
like
like,
that.
dead?
Right,
What would they?
right. Like, probably chilling, retired, whatever. And that's usually what I tell them. I'm like, retired. And they look at me all crazy. Well, you don't know, you're not old enough to retire. I said, honey, retirement don't take age. It takes money.
Yeah.
I said, you don't got to be a certain age to retire, because lots of people are, I know people that are 30 and 40, they're retired. And I
Right.
was like, yeah. And so you look at it like that, it's like they come in, they're like 12 years old, they ain't had no experience. They might have went to college, might not, that might be their first job. And and they done put them, in charge and in human resources, all this stuff, and they're asking you all these dumbass questions. And you're like, no, see, no.
I'm your mama.
Because I've been on the
If you can talk
planet,
to your mama that way.
right? You're like, I've been on the planet longer than you're alive. Like, I had one, I was like, how old are you? And she's like 25. I was like, hell, my children are older than you. But it's that kind of thing. It's like, what the world. However, on the other token, people have uh opinions about everything, right? They will come and they will just give their opinion whether you ask for it or not.
Yeah.
And for me, what I learned to do is just roll with them. Matter of fact, sometimes I'll just have a lot of fun with them.
Well, I'm that one person, but I have to learn that, because, and we talk, I'm a projector. And so I come across as a know-it-all because guess what? Projectors are kind of known for people who like to study. We kind of like to do those type of things. And so we have a lot of information about a lot of different stuff. So, but we can also relate to a lot of different scenarios and stuff like that. And so, but I have had to learn, that not everyone likes that person.
Right.
Don't always be that person. And, sometimes it is better just to be quiet because sometimes, it's also the fact of that people don't want you to give them the answers. People are just wanting
To vent.
someone, not even to vent. And, I really kind of don't like that word necessarily all the time because, sometimes when someone comes to you for it, like, okay, Tammy's my go-to person, like when I'm struggling stuff. And so it could sometimes be, I'm coming to her and, some people who would be listening to us would be like, oh my God, Megan is venting to her. But I'm also looking for solutions.
Right.
I'm looking for a perception shift. So it's not that I don't want Tammy to just relate to me of what's going on. Is I'm feeling stuck. I'm feeling stagnant.
Look,
What is another perception?
what
What
do
is
you
another way
see?
that I can be doing this right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're on the outside.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like, when you're on the outside, because we go through stuff inside of ourselves all the time. And
Right.
we actually just shared in the green room that, I said that I am in a cocoon phase and I can feel it. And I have felt it because I've been here before. But it's a phase where, I'm studying, I'm learning, I'm listening, I'm paying attention. I'm not doing a whole lot of talking because that's not the season for me at this point. But I know this based on, what I have been through already in the past and how my shit is. It's like,
Right.
like I finally figured out that, walking away was not only the title of my book, but it is my life theme. Because when shit gets crazy, I walk away. And I've done that my whole life. But I didn't realize that until I started doing the work.
Right.
I started looking at those patterns and I started doing the shadow work and I started journaling and praying and meditating and writing shit down and all of those things that we need to do as human beings in order to shift our perspective and in order to be able to move, in the way that we are designed to move. And I'm not talking about human design. That's a whole nother thing. We'll talk about that another time. But I'm talking about the way that we in
Well, it's
particular
the
are
pattern.
designed. Right. It's our pattern.
It's your
And
pattern.
so for
Your
me,
program.
it's my program. And it's like things start getting crazy. And it's funny because when I had the interview yesterday with Daphne, which was amazing, we talked about the fact that, you know, when you have a theme in your life and when you finally realize it and you recognize it and you can see it, it's like I have this thing where when I work jobs, I'm a 2-year girl. I'm really not going to be there longer than that, if that. But 2 years is about my limit. That's about my max. Because for me, I need to have different experiences because I need different experiences. That is just me. And I recognize that now doing the work that I've done on me. I can't just do shit the same all the time. I can't even eat the same food every fucking day. I can't do it. It's just not for me. And so I'm like, okay. And then a part of that is giving myself grace for being that way and not, talking bad to myself or talking, wrong to myself or talking down to myself or any of these kind of things, but just knowing that that is how I am. And it's okay. It's okay because there's nothing wrong with that. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And that's the thing. It's like, you start recognizing who you are and realizing that this is me. Like, I am not going to be on anybody's freaking job more than 2 years. I'm not doing it. Not because I start needing to see different people, and I start needing to, I start just needing change and shift and shit. And that's just me. And so I recognize that about myself, but it took me years and it took me work. I had to actually sit down with myself and say, why are you so damn crazy?
But it's self-awareness, and that's the great, you have to learn to become self-aware of your own patterns
Yes.
for you to be able to recognize
Yeah.
them. Mine, and it's even more also of
Yes.
self-identity. They both kind of go, kind of hand to hand, I believe. But you can't become self-aware if you're not figuring out who you are.
Yes.
And so many people, I love people of like, and that's like my program of like, who are you? Who are you? And I love the fact that, guess what, guys? No one the first time around when I ask them that question can tell me who they are. They
Right.
can tell me what they do. They can tell me a whole bunch of labels, but
Yes.
no one can actually tell me of who you are.
Like at your core.
At your core, you cannot tell me. And here's the thing about that, guys. If you don't know who you are, then please tell me how the hell you can tell yourself what you want and then where you're going. You can't.
Because you
You
don't know who
cannot
you
do
are.
that. You have no idea who you are. So you're really just going with the flow. You're really just taking what anyone gives to you into the world. You have no opinion. You have no stand. You have no ground. And the real reality of it is you're just kind of in the group. So you're not even aware of yourself. You're not aware of how much space you take up. You're not aware of your patterns. You're
Yeah.
not aware of your behavior because you're just going with the flow of everyone else.
Yes.
And when you're sitting there wondering why the hell all this shit keeps happening, well, you're going with the flow of society. You
Yes.
got to have that faith and you got to step out to be able to.
Yes.
And, just as yours, your pattern of what you've realized is walking
Yeah.
away. I realized my pattern was betrayal.
Yes. Thank you for
You
joining,
know,
Carrie.
my pattern of my life was, and I finally realized is it's, my mother betrayed me, my father betrayed me, my sister betrayed me, my brother betrayed me, my grandparents betrayed me. And then what happened, I finally betrayed myself, and I didn't even realize that I betrayed myself.
Yeah. Well,
I'd walked
that's the
away for
model
so
you had.
long.
That's the model you had. It's
I
what you
was
saw.
followed. So the fact that I constantly, whether I wasn't consciously aware
Right.
of this, betrayals of always happening, but I realized, and it's a blessing because of the fact I now realize that I had to betray myself to find myself
Yeah.
because
Yes.
everything in my life was completely chaotic. Everything was freaking wrong. I was completely miserable. I was on death's door,
Yeah.
every type thing, and it was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
this isn't my
Yes.
life. This isn't how it was supposed to be. This is
Yes.
not what I envisioned. But in the reality of it, guys, I really hadn't envisioned anything.
Right.
Not that, though.
Well, the thing is, if you think about it, you couldn't envision. You
No,
can't envision in that space.
no, no. And,
No, Sean,
but
it's not on TikTok because we couldn't, because Megan needs to go live.
I need to go live
So we
more.
couldn't get it on TikTok because they wouldn't let her go, let me invite her and stuff like that because she's got to go live. Like they have rules,
Yeah.
and so we got to
But we
get
need to go
that. But that's what
next
we want
week.
to do. That's our next move.
Yeah, next week.
Next
I got to
week
go
we'll
live
put.
one more day and for 15 more minutes, and then I meet the requirements.
Yes, yes. I'm gonna get her up to speed. It's easy to do. If we can do it, she can do it. Because like I said, I'm a Gen X. My husband's a boomer, and he actually has it down more than I do. So yeah, it can be done.
You know what
But
I'm going to do? Actually,
Mariah said something that I wanted to speak to. She said that it is so important and beneficial to learn these things about ourselves so we can see our unique genius. Exactly. Then she
yes.
said betrayal leaves a huge mark for us to work through. Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
girl, did it. Whoo!
Did she say a mouthful?
Whoo! Massive.
Because people,
Because what happened really,
I
oh,
was going to say, people commit suicide behind betrayal.
right. Well, the reality of also, what I had to realize is that the betrayal of my parents. So, for you guys who are on here who don't know me and stuff like that, I grew up in a violent home. I grew up with two narcissistic parents, experienced physical, mental, verbal, emotional, and sexual, financial abuse. I've experienced it all. But my father was a cop, a white racist cop who was let go of the police department for misconduct, and my mom was a nurse. They were two people that by society standards are supposed to be role
Mm-hmm.
models. But at home, they created hell for their children.
Yeah.
They should have been in jail for the stuff that was allowed to be done.
Yeah.
So from a very, very young age, I was betrayed, and that really messed up my nervous system. It really messed up my whole perception because of the fact that, like, even for cops, like, I don't like cops. Still to this day, I don't like cops. I don't think, not that they're not good people and stuff like that, but I know firsthand about the corruption and different stuff like that that's in it. So I see that, but I was supposed to trust
Yeah.
them. Why would I trust you? My dad is a cop too, and my dad beats me. My dad does, all this type of stuff like that. But that was continued. That was continued into my life. That was continued as a pattern. As we all know, our subconscious mind, how does it get programmed? Repeated. So it was repeated. That was a repeated trust unsafe people, trust unsafe people, trust unsafe people.
Yeah.
So
how do you avoid that when you grow up, when that's the pattern that was placed in your life? That's the shit.
Well, and for me, I had to separate from that. I really had to, first of all, figure out my own energy.
Yes.
Because like my nervous system was completely warped. But it's also, you have to start acknowledging that. It was simple little things of actually talking. And see, one of the reasons why, so like I did leave home after a botched suicide attempt and a permanent neck injury when I was 17. The problem is that I didn't want to acknowledge. I didn't want to think that I was an abused person or something. I wanted to act like it, like if I acted like it went away,
Then it
I
would
mean, if
just
it
go
didn't
away.
happen, it would just go away.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened, and again, back to this year of the karma year, this year of the 8 pattern, guess what? It doesn't go away.
No,
It's going to resurface.
yes.
And that's exactly what it did. And I ended up marrying a narcissist who, he did not physically abuse me because he knew if he ever touched me, laid a hand on me, he'd be 6 feet under.
Right.
But the psychological abuse, he did a number on me, and it took me 10 years till then I see my kids' eyes. Like all of a sudden I now recognize the same pain in my kids' eyes. And so then it was like, hold up, wait a second. Fuck. Stop.
I was
And
gonna
really
say, what was
stop
that?
in the name of love.
It was like, hold up, wait a minute.
Don't go there, because I ain't
Right.
with it. But, it's stopping in the name of love.
Yeah.
Because the reality was is I wasn't loving myself, but I also, which goes in even to more of the betrayal, is that they couldn't love me because they didn't love themselves
Yeah.
and stuff. And so that betrayal pattern, that was what was programmed. Unsafe
Yeah.
love was programmed into me. This is why I continued. And I was sitting there and I'm like, this is not what I want. This isn't the life. I expected to have like this like amazing, beautiful husband that I would make love with every day. I really didn't want kids at that time, but like I was going to travel, I was going to do all this, type of stuff. And it was like, now I'm in an abusive marriage.
Yeah.
because I had to betray myself to find myself.
Yes, yes. And see that right there, that to me is the work.
Right.
Because it's like when you start doing that work, oh my God, shit changes, and you start, it's like your whole perspective starts to shift because you
Yeah.
are doing that work on this shit that happened to you, in your life as a child, as somebody that couldn't even, fend for yourself or fight it off or anything. You know what I'm saying? And there was nobody in your life to even help you to move through that stuff. Because
No.
sometimes there's like, and sometimes in people's lives, there's a person, like one person that they can go to, like maybe a teacher or somebody that, cares or whatever, somebody that's empathic or what's the other word? Empathetic. There are people that somebody, at least usually a lot of times one person, but a lot of times if you have nobody,
Yeah.
nobody, it's like you don't have a safe space or a safe
Yep.
haven.
And I never did.
Right.
But what
So you had
happened,
to
again,
create
as
it.
we're talking, do what?
I said, so you had to create it.
I had to create it, but I had no idea how to.
That's what I'm saying.
I had no idea.
That's the work.
And, that affinity loop, guys, of what we're talking about, everything runs in cycles of like 5, 8, 15 years.
Yeah.
But, that it came back because even though I ignored it all, I just hoped and prayed it would all freaking go away.
Of course we do.
Knock, knock. It knocked back up on my door. And so there is going to be at a point of time that if you don't want to deal with it, it's going to come back around. You have to deal with this stuff. You have to process it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. You have to process. And the thing about it is, if you don't decide to process it, it's going to decide for you.
Yeah,
Trust
it's
me.
better to make that choice.
Better to make that choice. Trust me. It's like when you pray for patience. Jesus Christ. You'll start getting situations that come to you in order to make you develop that patience. So for me, I don't pray for patience. I'm not in that space.
And stop praying, guys, for strength.
Right.
See, here's the thing about praying for strength. If you're praying for strength, guess what? You're going to get situations in your life that you're going to have to be strong.
Yes.
If you keep praying for courage, you're going to have situations that come into your life that you're going to have to show courage.
Yes.
You got to start thinking about the words. And see, and I used to do that all the time. And guess what happened? I kept having situations in my life that I kept having to show I was strong. I kept having to show my courage. I kept having to show how brave I was.
Well, but that's
Well, I got
we were taught like that. We were conditioned that.
We were.
And it's like, no, 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 no. But this is how we were conditioned.
Yep.
We were conditioned that, in order to, get to this space, this is what we got to do. But, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. But this is the thing that a lot of people have to understand. It's all about unlearning everything that you've learned. Like, here's a great analogy that I've thought about here recently, and I'm going to throw it out here to you all tonight because I haven't figured out exactly like how I'm going to actually like make a post really about this, because there's a lot of people I don't think who are going to comprehend this and understand this. So listen up. When we are born, we are 100% codependent on someone else to provide our needs for us. We are ingrained and programmed that we need someone else to provide for us because we can't. We just physically cannot take care of us.
No, because you're a child. You're a baby.
Right. And this is in all relationships, guys. This is kind of like the foundation of how relationships should go.
Yes.
But as a child, again, codependency is automatically created by birth. Okay? Then what happens is the codependency comes, we become emotional dependent because you need your parents still as you're growing and they're trying to teach you. They're going in and they're, putting in. And then what happens? Then the mental, because then you start to regulate and you start to get together.
Yes.
But guess what, guys? As you get to become an adult, and if you want a healthy relationship, you got to
Boom.
go backwards.
Yep.
You have to build the mental connection with a person first, then a emotional connection, then a physical connection. If you're always trying to build a physical connection with a person, you're in survival mode.
Yep.
Because codependency is survival mode.
Yep.
You
That is exactly.
know? And hold on, what someone said it earlier today. You can't learn forward. You can only learn backwards.
Yep.
You know, and so it's like, you know, we need to start paying attention to even these certain patterns.
Yes.
How are they showing up in your life?
Yes.
Because right now, guys, is the time you need to be identifying. You need to be sitting down. Or as I've already warned you, and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but if you ain't doing the work, it's gonna be a shitty ass year.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
If
is.
you aren't taking those strides, if you aren't stepping out, if you aren't stepping out of that comfort zone to see, okay, I don't have the relationship I want with my husband. What is it that I need to do to make it? What is it the relationship that I need to do with myself to make that? Do I even have that? Because also remember that we're the mirror and the reflector.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That part. It's like, oh my God. Oh my God. Really? This is what we're doing?
Right.
And the thing is thank you for joining Sin Camara. And Dr. James, thank you for joining. But yeah, you're right about that. It's like, it's almost like when you think about your patterns. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna use the one that I always use because it just makes so much sense to me. So, and if those of you that have watched me before, because I use this one all the time, cutting the bacon in half. So my grandmother cut the bacon in half. My mother cuts the bacon in half.
Yeah.
I cut the bacon in half. My daughter probably cuts the bacon in half. She's not having kids, so we don't have to worry about that one moving forward on her. But we cut the bacon in half because it's what we were trained and conditioned to do, what we were taught to do. We were
Yeah.
taught to cut the fucking bacon in half. Now, I don't know if anybody else asked, but because I was the curious, inquisitive child that I was, I asked my grandmother, why were we cutting the fucking bacon in half? And so they cut the bacon in half because, during those days, back in the old days, they didn't have these big ass pans that we have. They didn't have them. And she came from, I think, something like 15 kids. So there's a lot of damn people to feed. And they lived on a farm, and, so they had their own, had the pigs and stuff that they would, whatever they did. I can't go into that. But they had the pigs and stuff like that so they could, get their own bacon and all that kind of stuff. But they cut it in half,
Yeah.
because they didn't have pans big enough to fit it, and they had a whole bunch of damn mouths to feed, so that's something that we have to consider. And so that was the reason why they cut the bacon in half. Now, why my mama cut the bacon in half? Because my mama didn't have but 4 kids. And we were kind of spread apart because I'm, 9 years older than my youngest brother. So I was the only child for all that time. And then I had these other ones that came. And so why she cut the bacon out, I don't know. And then we had a big pan where you could actually lay the bacon out. But
We do
I'm
it
just
all.
I'm just using this as an example of conditioning and
Yeah.
how we get conditioned. I still fucking cut the bacon in half, even though I know, why they cut the bacon in half and all that stuff. I have background on all of that. I have a big ass pan I could put a fucking whole slice of bacon in, but I still cut the bacon in half because why? Because that was my conditioning. And it's like that in so many other areas. Now that's a simple illustration,
And not
but
harmful,
not
you know.
harmful, because we're not
But
we're
how
not
many
killing
harmful
killing
patterns?
birds with stones and stuff like that. So, but that's an example of how these things come and how the conditioning comes, and we also, and what I learned also recently really is that we can also be addicted to the struggle, and the struggle that we've been through, even especially if you grew up, in a family where you struggled, the whole time and stuff like that. And, because talking to so many people that I've interviewed, I learned a lot about people, and how they process. And so a lot of times if you have grown up struggling, then that's your mentality, and you just think that you're always supposed to struggle. It's almost like I saw a video talking about Gen X and talking about how Gen X, we are fighters. We'll fight about anything. We are the definition of I wish a motherfucker would.
I do love that because we do say that. I wish a motherfucker
Right?
would.
I wish. What? What? Wait, you gonna do what? I want to tell your
We used
ass
to say
up.
that for nothing, you know?
Exactly. And you think about it in the video, because I sent it to you, right? The video, the guy was like, yeah, we grew up, we were like the kids that, were mostly the latchkey kids because they would leave our ass home and all these different things and stuff like
I love
that.
those videos.
Right? It was so funny, and it was so real and so right, because we were that generation, and I don't
We weren't
know if
coddled.
anybody else knows. Huh?
We weren't coddled.
We weren't. We were like the get the fuck over it generation. That's why we don't understand a lot about our children and all of this fucking sensitivity and stuff like that. You're like, because you know what they told us? Oh, you're just too fucking sensitive. You need to get the fuck over it.
But how abusive was that at the same time, though?
That was
Because we weren't honoring feelings.
really abusive.
It was really abusive, but we're programmed that way.
Right.
We're so programmed, and that's even patterns of like we don't understand that and we don't know that because we think that this is normal. So we start telling these kids this and stuff like that, and it's so abusive because of the fact that we're telling our kids to suck it the fuck up. So as we know, as spiritual people, what are we doing? It's constantly of like taking that a 2-liter bottle, taking a Mentos, keep putting it in, just keep taking it, put the lid on, shake it. What the hell do you think is going to happen? And yet we wonder why we have so many people so explosive and having emotional reactions and don't know how to handle it because no one's ever was taught how to process it.
No, because you know what they told us?
Get the
I don't
fuck
know about you,
over
but
it.
they told me, you're too fucking sensitive. I mean, you need to get the fuck over it. Like, I remember when I was young, so I had a lot of problems with I had endometriosis probably since I was 12 or 13. They didn't know then, but I know because I seen it. So I used to like hemorrhage on my cycles. My mama was like, it can't be that bad. She was like, it can't be that bad. I don't know what is your problem, but you need to get your ass up and go to school. I don't care that you're cramping so bad that you can't stand it. I was taking 3 and 4 800 milligrams of ibuprofen to go to school and drinking a shot of liquor, brushing my teeth really good, and going to school so I could make it. But that was because it can't be that damn bad. I
That
mean,
was my sister.
it's
Oh
like,
God. Oh,
you're like,
throw that. And here's the funny of it. You're exactly right on the parents on it. My sister was exactly like you, girl. And then here comes me, and I have no problems with my period. I don't have endometriosis. My sister had endometriosis too. So then my sister would be like told, well, you're just a fat ass. Why don't you get up and go exercise like your sister and stuff like that? If you fucking exercised, and it's all that type of comparisons and stuff like that. Yeah.
see,
Good old Gen X
and
family.
that's the shit. And see, we dealt with all that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. And so then we wonder with our kids, because like, my kids are all grown now, and some stuff I'm like, why the fuck are you doing that? You know what I mean? And so in my mind, I have to pull that back, and
Yeah.
actually, come from that healed space and not that space where, like, I remember I had the flu for the last time when I was 15 years old. Haven't had the flu since. But I was 15 years old, and I remember it because my mother made me go to school because I couldn't be that damn sick because I was just too dramatic. That's what she said. Just too dramatic. You can't be that fucking sick. Go, get your ass up and go to school. Too dramatic.
You know what's funny? I was the only kid who I never pulled it that I was sick or anything. So if I would say I was sick, my mom would be like, "Oh, okay, you can stay home." It was the only time my mom like ever like because like I could never fake being not sick. Like if I was sick, I was fucking sick.
See, and this is funny because I'm gonna go to the pattern thing. So this is what I dealt with when I was growing up. So I went to school sick as a damn dog. I had a fucking fever of something like 102 or 3 or 4 or something, right? But you sent my ass to school.
My Aunt Chris just popped in. Hey, Aunt Chris.
Hey, Chris, how you doing? So super, so what I did too with my kids was they started complaining about being sick and stuff like that. Now, if they were really sick, it was a whole different thing. But if they were like playing games, because my son would do this. He had like a test or something. He always has stomach aches and shit like that. And he would do stuff like go to the nurse's office, and he would go at like 1 o'clock in the fucking afternoon. They get out of school at 2:30. I work night shift, so I would be, dead in my sleep at that moment. So anyway, so what I started doing was, and this, I think about it now, it's like, oh my God, I was so abusive. If they were sick and they said they were sick and they needed to stay home, if they weren't really sick, they had a list of shit to do. They had to do chores until, and that shit needed to get done. When I got home from work, I would tell them, if this shit is not done when I get home from work, I'm whipping your ass. And this is what I did.
How abusive.
Abusive as hell.
You're abusive.
You think about that, but I think it wasn't as abusive as my mama was to me because I didn't send them if they were really sick. Like my son, he got strep throat a few times. So when he was really sick, he would stay home and I would get him to rest and all that other good shit. But, that wasn't the case for me. Now, my brothers and sisters, yeah, it was a whole nother thing because it was like she raised two sets of kids, because it was me. And I was, like I said, 9 years older than my oldest brother, and 13 years older than my sister. So it's like,
right,
a whole nother generation and shit. So that didn't happen for them. But then I think about it like this too. And this is what I actually share with my kids. I said, I am proud of the way that I raised y'all because y'all are independent. You don't depend on anybody, not me and nobody else. I said, and nobody's in prison. So I think I did a pretty good job.
You did do a pretty good job. And then like me growing up in an abusive family, I'm the only I'm the only, independent one.
Yeah.
In the reality, and both of my other siblings are completely still dependent upon my parents, still completely within that circle, emotionally, mentally, physically, like, they still go to them for like everything. Mostly, I mean, I'm not going to assume anything has changed in the last 5 years, but, but I was that way too, because that was how they built. They didn't teach us to be independent. They didn't teach us to be
that's how they condition you.
Conditioned.
See, we had the same issue with my husband's kids. Same thing, same type of thing. They were raised, their mother's a narcissist and same type of stuff. She grew them up and they didn't know how to do nothing. I mean, nothing. And I couldn't even.
I know how to be a housewife.
See what I'm saying? So it's what you're conditioned to do. So she tried to keep them where they didn't know how to do nothing so they could be dependent on her. That's not right. It's
they could get their field, so they could get their feed and stuff like that,
And so
but we have to recognize, we have to recognize these patterns, and this is where it's like this year, guys. Again, if you have not done the work,
you better start working on it.
Stay away from me.
I was gonna say, and if you need some help, reach out. We can help you.
Well, yeah, on that aspect, but I don't want to stay next to you.
Absolutely not.
I already got my karma cloud away. I'm allowing all the good stuff. I'm going to start reaping in all the good stuff of everything that I've been working on, because it's been an amazing 5 years. Now, it's been a struggle for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, a major struggle. I mean, I've had to basically rewire and reprogram all of my
Yeah.
belief systems.
Yeah.
All of my beliefs.
And that's okay, because that's the journey, really.
Well, because it made me so, after, realizing that, my common theme was betrayal.
Yes.
I betrayed myself. Well, I had to learn how not to betray myself anymore.
Right.
But again, I finally got to figure out who it was Megan Marie really was.
Yes.
Who is Megan Marie? And then once I could figure out who the hell Megan Marie was, I could figure out what Megan Marie really fucking wanted. And then once I figured out, okay, well, I think this is what I really want, now I know where I'm going. Now I know the direction. Like, everyone, y'all sit there all the time. You're like, oh, I wish God would give me direction. I wish God would give me direction. Well, who are you?
Get it yourself. That's what I say. Because, okay, so, all right. So one of the things that I really get irritated about is people giving away their power to anybody.
Yep.
I mean, and my thing is, it's almost like when you play the blame game. You're just giving away your power, because what the fucking difference do it make anyway? Can you change your shit and fix it?
But I think a lot of people don't even understand that they're blaming, and I don't think a lot of people even understand that they're giving, and that goes again with that self-awareness, which goes with that self-identity thing as well.
So it's also like a consciousness presence type of thing.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Realize, yeah. And that's actually a part of the journey as well. We're on this place, trying to recognize and realize. Once you start identifying those patterns, and then you start, actually understanding who the fuck you are, and then you can know what you want. Because I'm telling you, this was to me, it's an ongoing journey. Because for one thing, women, the thing that I know about women is that women shift about every decade. We do. You don't always recognize it because you're not paying attention. You're not being present in that area. But we do. We shift every 10 years, every decade. I can say that because now I'm at almost 6 decades. And every decade, I could see the shift now. Of course, hindsight, of course, looking back.
Yeah.
And I love that, because I share that with younger people, and I say, you know what? Think about what my grandmother always used to say: live a little longer. Live a little longer. You'll learn a little more.
Yeah.
The shifts will come if you allow them. But live a little longer. Don't judge it by right now.
Well, you don't want to be stuck, and you want to be ever evolving. Like, people who don't want to learn, and people who aren't educating themselves, I really kind of feel bad for them, because it's like, you're just doing the same thing over and over.
I don't know how people can do it.
I don't either. I completely dislike routine. Like, it just, routine does not fit with me. It just is not, because I do like such wide variety. I'm a visionary, so how can I be a visionary and look at the same thing every single day? It doesn't fit with me. But, okay, so great. You figured out who you are. You figured out what you want. You figured out where you're going. Well, at some point, you have to stop and thank God and be like, oh my God, I have everything I prayed for.
Yes.
Well, does your journey end? No.
Right.
No. Your journey keeps continuing. And so it goes exactly to what you're saying of, that shift and that evolving of every 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great. Now you can sit down and say, thank you, God. Thank you, Gus. Thank you for, I have everything that I desired. But guess what? Now I want more.
Yes. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with wanting more. We are supposed to want more.
We live in an abundant world.
I was going to say, it's like people that say, oh, I just want enough money to take care of, what I need to do, and just to pay my bills and all this stuff. Well, why? Why don't you want more? Why don't you want enough to be able to give to somebody else or help somebody else? That's my desire now. I am a 9 on my life path. So that means I'm a humanitarian. So that's me. I've always had that desire, like I always want to give. But what I learned is that you got to give off out of your overflow and not, off of what you have. Now I'm
Right.
saying, so that's something that, that I have learned, that has helped me, because yes,
I'm
I'm a giver. I've always been. It's who I am. And I didn't realize until I learned, about my life path. I just kept wondering, why was I that way? And people say, oh, you give to the homeless. I'm like, yeah, I do. Now, do I give to every one of them? Hell no. Because
no.
I have a thing about, really young people being out there begging. That just pisses me the fuck off, because there are jobs out there. Now, they're old and, they got health issues, whatever, that kind of thing, different. Veterans and stuff like that. I have a soft spot in my heart for them. But yeah, no. And then families and stuff, like out here, I had one family that I have given to a couple of times, actually. It's a lady, and she has a couple kids out there, and and that stuff hurts my heart, because I can't even imagine. You know what I mean? But yeah, and then sometimes for me, I always ask God, universe, source, Holy Spirit, if I should give. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not giving, for myself. I'm giving as unto the Lord, because that's who I am. But
Right.
the thing is, so my thing is, yes, I would love to win the damn lottery. I would love to. And I already have, ideas of what I want to do, because I actually talk about that shit. I'm like, okay, I get
I do too.
this $6 million, this is what I'm gonna do. Da, da, da. Somebody actually had a post about that the other day, and I thought it was pretty neat. They were like, if you won $1 million, what would you do? And to me, those things help you to level up.
Manifested.
That's what I was going to say. And they help you to manifest whatever it is that you desire, because you put yourself in that space. Because y'all know what? I have to say this, and I keep saying it because it hit me so hard. The feeling really is the fucking secret. It really is. That feeling will shift shit like nothing else. The feeling is the secret. You got to feel that shit.
Yeah.
Feel it. You know?
You do. You got to feel it. It's all about the
It's like,
feeling.
because like I heard, and I did a video about this the other day. I said, I heard Neville Goddard speak that thing, because I've been listening to him now for the last, I don't know, about 2 years now. And I listen to him, periodically, and I still, I love Florence Scovel Shinn and shit like that. But I heard this lecture that he gave, because they had his lecture, wasn't any, but you know how they have like other people doing it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Brian, whatever his name.
And stuff.
Yeah, but no, this was his actual lecture. He was talking.
Okay.
And I heard it, and I was like, it was on YouTube. And I think it's only like maybe 20 minutes or something like that. But it was really good. And he talked about that thing. How when he was wanting to go to Barbados, and he was in New York, and his mentor, Abdullah, told him, hey, you gotta already know that you're there. You got to put yourself in your bed in Barbados. So when you go to sleep at night, feel that you're in your bed in Barbados, which is where he was going.
Yep.
And he did that. And of course, at the time they didn't have any tickets because it was, on the ship, the boat. And so, they didn't have any tickets, and, he couldn't get there and all this stuff. And so this is what he was focusing on at first. But then when he started focusing on the feeling, that's when it shifted. And I feel the same way. It's like one day as I was studying now, because I want to share this, because sometimes people are studying this stuff and they're learning and they're working through and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden it'll hit you just like that. Like you, like I think about like affirmations. Like we say affirmations all the time. I say them every fucking day, every day, sometime all day. I'm saying affirmations, but sometimes you look up and you're like, God, I'm saying these affirmations, but ain't a fucking thing happening. You know what? Nothing
Yeah.
is happening. Nothing is happening. I'm still broke. I'm still whatever.
You're muted.
No.
It says you're muted.
Yeah, I had
There you go.
somebody calling me. But it shows up for you. It's like all of a sudden, because why? Because you put yourself in that space where now you believe it. And then you also feel it.
Yeah.
And then to me, it's
Boomerang.
like opening up the floodgates. It's like shit just starts showing up for you, because that is, and it's funny because I was speaking with the young lady last night. We were doing an interview, and I said, I just believe, that things are supposed to be easy for me, because that is the conversation that I have had with my spirit team. I ain't gonna be doing all this hard shit. It's just not, that's not how I roll. Why? It's because I set those intentions with my spirit team. When I sit down with my angels, with my ancestors, with my spirit guides, and I talk to God and all this stuff, I say that this shit is easy. And if it's not easy, then it's not for me.
Yeah.
But that's what I put out there. So it's really up to you and what it is that you put out there.
But it's
What
also
you're,
learning of that speaking life
yes,
and death. So many people don't realize how much they speak death into themselves
yes,
as well,
yes,
which I think maybe that's another episode. Maybe that's next week
yeah.
of the speaking life and death,
I'm all right.
But because so many people don't realize such simple things. You're speaking death into yourself.
Well, you
And
think
that can
about
change
it,
it.
even the Bible says it. Life and death is in the power of the tongue, and that is so real.
That's
Because
why
I've
people
because we've seen it. We've seen so many people that left here way before their time, or way before they were supposed to. Because there are people that their work is done. Like I feel like Chadwick, I feel like his work was done. He had such a huge body of work because he knew he wasn't going to be here.
right.
There are certain people that their work is done, and just because we think they should live to be 75 or 80 or 100 or whatever, their work is done, and that's the thing. But
But even look at, a lot of stars, like the music people, and how many people, like the 27 Club,
yeah,
of
like
all the stars
me,
that music.
me.
Listen to their lyrics.
Yeah,
Listen to the songs and stuff that they sang about. Listen to the talks of the way they spoke death to themselves.
yeah, because you got what
You
what's his name?
know, Joplin,
Jimi
um,
Hendrix,
uh, Jimi Hendrix,
Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse. There's like 25,
What
maybe even more,
what was
because
his name?
there's a reason why it's called the 27 Club, because they all
Morrison.
died at like 27.
I was gonna say our cousin Jim Morrison.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They all spoke death into themselves.
yeah. And the thing is when you look at that and you start seeing that particular pattern, it's like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Even your health, you have the capability to speak life into you. I mean, if you're constantly saying you're sick or you're exhausted and stuff like that, why don't you think it changes? Why don't you think the amount of sleep that you get and you still wake up and you're still tired all the time?
Right.
You
I can
know, it's
say, I'm telling you, because all the things I've been going through, it's like, nah, I'm good. And it's funny because my sister Megan will tell me, oh, girl, you're healed. I was like, I know that. I said, I'm just doing the follow-up things that I need to do. I said, because here's the thing that I know. You need to know what you're dealing with so that you can call out the healing for it. And so
yep.
that's okay. Like I said, I'm not, I honestly, I honestly am not stressed about all these things that I'm dealing with right now, as far as
No.
in physical body. But I also know that there are times when I know that I need to rest. And I know that that is what my body does for me. So it's like, there's a period of time, because of my patterns.
All right.
It's like, okay, no. This is not for you to this is not your thing to do. This is not your fight today. Today, what you got to do is, sit your ass down and rest. And to me, that's all about being in touch with yourself. It's like you were talking about before. Being in touch with who you are and what it is that you need. Because, we all need things differently. It's almost like love. I'm going to say this and then we probably going to land the plane.
Yeah.
But I think that even in love, it's like, I believe that people really don't know what unconditional love is.
No.
And so they think about it like this, like, David and I had talked about this on Sunday service one day. He said, people say, okay, well, if he does that, then, I'm leaving him. If she does that, then, I'm leaving her, and it's all of this kind of thing that's happening, especially really bad now. Cause back in the old days, people just didn't split up regardless.
It wasn't even
But now
a discussion. It wasn't even a talk.
Right. But now they're like, okay, well, she does this, because you see, because this is the thing that got me. You see people that have lived together for 10 years and then they get married and they're only married 5 years and they're getting divorced.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that about? What changed? But you had conditions on your love. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I love that. And I feel so grateful because, my husband said, I don't care what my wife do. I'm not going nowhere. I love her. And people even asked him, well, if she cheated, if she did this, if she did that, he said, I don't care. He said, because I love her. He said, now, will I be disappointed? Will I probably be upset? Yeah. He said, but I still love her. He said, and that's the thing that people have to realize. If you really, truly love somebody, it don't matter. Don't
Yeah, you
matter.
make it work.
And you hope that they don't do something crazy like cheat on you or whatever, that kind of stuff. However, you have to, it's almost like you reconcile within yourself whether or not you're going to stay committed to this person and work through whatever it is that you had to deal with.
And it goes, but that's for another day because we're going to jump off here. But that also that unconditional is also that's a programmed because a lot of families and stuff like that. I'll love you if you do this.
Yes.
I love you if I do that.
Yes.
And so we need to decondition ourselves and learn how to love from just a general state, and that's loving yourself. That's where you learn the unconditional. Love is coming to yourself and loving yourself for all your flaws.
Yes.
When you can learn to love yourself for all your flaws, then you can truly start to have unconditional love for other people.
Yes.
Because I can tell you one thing, like I can 100% fully admit I used to have conditional love.
Yeah, we all did.
I was conditional if you did this, even in my marriage.
Yeah.
I didn't.
We were conditioned that way.
We were conditioned that way.
Yeah, and I think about that. It's like we were all conditioned because this is what because we had that fairy tale shit going on.
Yeah.
We wanted to be what's her face, Cinderella, or Sleeping Beauty. I actually just watched Maleficent.
See what you're
Have you
didn't
seen
come
that?
through.
Maleficent.
I think I have.
With Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, I've seen that.
See, I didn't see it.
I've seen a movie.
I am so proud. Yeah, I watched it the other day because it just popped up and I was like, you know what? I don't remember seeing this because I remember when it came out because we were actually going to go to the movies to see it, but something happened. We didn't get to go. And so I said, I'm going to watch this. And I watched that. And I was like, wow, she was pretty good. But I like Angelina Jolie anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's like, wow, because if you watch the things that she went through and then how the guy tried to come after her, that supposedly loved her.
Yep.
I mean, that was just like, I was like, wow, okay. But anyway,
so
you ready to land this plane?
I am. I got a massive headache that just came on.
I saw you doing that. You got some lavender?
Somewhere.
I was going to say, get you some lavender or some sage and rub your temples. All right. So anyway, we have enjoyed this night. It's been amazing as usual, and we have missed y'all. And we thank you for hanging out with us. Christine Painter, thank you for joining us. And Beth Ann, thank you.
Honestly, Christine, jump in here. Hello, girl.
Mhm. Yeah, she jumped in after Beth Ann and Chris. Linda Ann joined us, and Sin Camara, Dr. James, Sean White, and who else? Mariah Barton. Who else joined us? I'm trying to give people, their flowers. Roosevelt Russell, I think he joined us for a minute. Carrie Ann Crosby, thank you so much for joining. But we had such a good time, and we'll actually be back again on next week, as far as I know, unless, yeah,
We'll be here.
things happen. But yeah, we'll do it, and then we're gonna actually move this on over to TikTok once Megan gets her time in.
Yeah. We're going to be hitting multiple platforms
We're
all
gonna
at
hit
once. We're going to be like, bam!
it. So anyway, we thank y'all for hanging out with us, and we have had such an amazing time. And make sure that you hit us up if you're wanting to ask any questions about whatever it is that we were talking about, or if you would like to have any type of session work with us, because we both actually do session work. I actually speak to people that are in the spiritual development phase and want to work on that, learning how to meditate and learning how to say affirmations properly. I also have series on TikTok, on my TikTok channel, that you can grab. That I think the series are $4.99. I have one on how to meditate, and I also have one on the spiritual gifts, and they're both $4.99, less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. And so you can get a little bit, and they're short videos, just like the TikTok version. I think the longest video might be 4 or 5 minutes. So it's really good, and it's really informative, and it's going to help you to grow. I also am working on a couple of courses that I'm going to put on Udemy, so continue to follow me for that, because that is an area. And I also have a membership that I'm doing, working on. I'll be putting that out in the next couple of weeks. It is on Telegram, so and it's like having an intuitive on demand. So again, that's what I'm doing. What you got going on?
Always check me out on the LJDNradio.com network. Check us out tomorrow. We got some, I don't really know who he is, but he's coming out. Some new hot artist, Throttle, is coming out. I got to listen to his songs
What happened to
actually still
Mike
tonight.
Tyson?
He's coming later.
Okay.
So there's been a new podcast. So damn, I forgot the dude's name.
It's a football player, right?
Yeah, he's already been on. Montel is now in a podcast series with Lena and stuff, which you can check out on Friday afternoons. Montel Griffin, he's a level C like heavyweight boxer and stuff like that.
Okay. You said Montel, I'm thinking about Montel Jordan, Montel Williams.
Oh well, I'm putting out there to the universe. We getting DJ Hughley on our show.
Yeah, Hughley.
We're getting Hughley. Apparently, Lena has a connection to him, and I'm like, why ain't he on here?
I was getting ready to say you need to get DL. Y'all need to get Cat Williams.
Yeah,
actually, hot right now because he just did that podcast with Shannon Sharp. Girl, it was 2 hours.
I don't want him on the show.
Why not?
Because it's all lies.
You don't know that.
Ice Cube has come out and has said it is all lies.
Baby, yeah. Of course he's going to say that.
But hold on, but I've already said on that whole controversy, I have said, and I said it on that show because Lena and I actually did a show up kind of surrounded about that. I already did say, with how many name drops and all that, there's going to be a big ass movie with all of them in it coming out at the end of this freaking year, and this is all it is. It's a publicity scene to get them all at fights.
Yeah, I said the same thing because, different ones came out and talked about different things and said different stuff and all that stuff. And I haven't followed it completely because I can't get in that damn drama. But, and I didn't even watch the 2-hour Shannon Sharp interview. I sent that thing to David. I was like, you want to watch this? I was like, I'm going to watch it a little bit at a time because I can't sit for 2 hours and listen to that bullshit. But
we had it On the show. We did it. We dissected it. We did a lot of talking about it. But I think it's a whole publicity
I
stunt. Is
agree.
actually I think what it is.
Because the thing
On it.
about it is good publicity, bad publicity. It's all
It's
publicity.
publicity. All publicity.
Exactly.
But you can always check me out there. And then, yeah, if you're ready to heal from these unhealthy relationships, if you're finally ready to figure out who the hell you are, what you want, and where you want to go in life, I have Heal with Megan Marie. Coaching under Megan Marie Coaching, and you can reach out to me. I've switched everything over to Megan Marie Coaching. Keep it a little simpler and easier. Megan Marie Coaching, and
Wait,
so reach out to me.
so we're not doing Zen Warrior Coaching?
No,
Okay.
we're simplifying it all. I'm not hiding anymore behind anything, so it is just it's Megan Marie Coaching. Come to me. I do offer individual sessions, and I do have coaching programs. And I'm getting ready to do a group coaching program as well. So
Nice.
just hit me up. You can go to my Facebook page here. You can schedule. There's my calendar on there. You can schedule a 30-minute conversation. You got something going on. Let's have a talk. Let's see if I'm the right fit. See if I might, be able to help you out. That's all you got to do.
Sounds good. All right. So that is our show for tonight. Thank you. Oh God, girl. I'm glad we're doing that. It's like I got like eight on my battery. But just we love it. And so we're greatly appreciative of everybody that has come through, and y'all that catch the replay. Make sure you hit #replay so we can properly acknowledge you.
Yep.
So again, thank you so much for joining, and we'll be having this conversation again this time, same bat time, same bat station. And we're also taking it to TikTok. So if you love going over there, go over there and listen to us talk over there, because that is the new and upcoming platform that is moving and shaking. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Good night.
All right. Mwah.
Bye.